A plane crashes in Norco. We have the inside scoop on all the recent events here on campus and all things Coachella. All this and more coming up on this episode of OC News. Thank you for joining us on OC News. I'm Chloe Abbott.
And I'm Marcos Mora. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton.
A woman and man were found dead at an apartment in Newport Beach Sunday night after police responded to a medical aid call. The caller was one of the victim's roommates who reported the finding at about 9:30 p.m. The two victims were identified as Wendy Miller, CEO of Wings for Justice, and 38-year-old Dared Parch, a former hockey player. Authorities say there is a homicide investigation underway and is an ongoing case. Nearly every college student has to deal with the nightmare of student debt for most of their lives. A potential presidential candidate has recently proposed a plan that could put these nightmares to rest. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren has proposed her plan for student debt that is sure to go over well with the younger audience. Warren has proposed her $1.25 trillion plan on Monday, which would affect 95% of people with college debt. Warren explains how her plan would break down based on various different levels of income.
Got outstanding student loan debt can have up to $50,000 worth of student loan debt canceled out so long as their income is under $100,000, then it kind of steps in up to there's no help for anybody whose family income is above $250,000.
The plan is not presented as a get-out-of-jail-free card for those in debt. Instead, it is aimed to make college more accessible to the entire American population. Warren's plan would create a $50 billion fund for historically black colleges, as well as add $100 billion in funding over 10 years for the Pell Grant to help low-income households. That is nearly 4 times as much as the Pell Grant paid out during the 2015-2016 academic year.
Access problem for low-income students, for students of color, and that is, it's not just paying the tuition.
Warren's plan would create a $50 billion fund for historically black colleges, as well as add $100 billion in funding over 10 years for the Pell Grant to help low-income households. That is nearly 4 times as much as the Pell Grant paid out during the 2015-2016 academic year. Warren points to her 2% on the rich tax as the source of the funding. One of the strong points of her campaign, Warren is proposing a yearly 2% tax on every citizen with over $50 million in assets and 3% tax for billionaires. Warren believes that her plan would be more effective than the free college plan that Bernie Sanders proposed in his 2016 campaign.
How is your plan better than that plan?
Well, it goes further.
So is it fair to say that your bill is more progressive than Bernie Sanders' bill?
Well, it's certainly bigger.
And for the past 40 years, Com Week has been a long-standing Cal State Fullerton tradition that hosts over 50 speakers, panels, and special events and sees approximately 3,000 students annually. From today until April 25th, Com Week will bring filmmakers, TV show hosts, and radio producers, also theme park executives and other communications professionals to our campus. Reporting live from the TSU is Jaisha Morrison to tell us more about the event.
Hey Titans, this is Jaisha Morrison, and I'm standing inside of the TSU where Cal State Fullerton is hosting their 41st annual Com Week. Let's take a small look into the event.
So Com Week is a 4-day conference hosted by the College of Communications. This year we have the honor of bringing in over 70 guest speakers and panelists from all over the fields of the intercommunications related fields. So what it is that students will get a chance to network, gain insights with professionals within the fields of their interest. So, you know, for example, like tonight, it's our smaller night. Tomorrow we have a lot of speakers coming in. So
today I heard it was a visual effects artist from Hollywood, and his name was Tyler. And so we sat in, and it was a great experience. I've always been interested in the film industry, but I didn't know exactly what I would want to do. And so it was kind of nice, learning more about the visual effects, all the editing, and the behind the scenes.
Come check it out. Reporting live for OC News, this is Jaisha Morrison. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jaisha. This Friday is the last day to turn in your financial aid documents. Here is reporter Sally Gonzalez with more details.
The annual document deadline for the Financial Aid Office is approaching this week on April 26th. For students who are anticipating aid for the next academic school year, these documents are very important for receiving aid on time. Irene Lim, who is a quality service representative at the financial aid office, had a few words to say about the deadline.
So at Cal State Fullerton's financial aid office, we do have something called the document deadline. It's around April, towards the end of it. So it's either April 26th, April 27th. It just depends on what day doesn't fall on a weekend, but basically it is the day where you have to submit your financial aid documents that we put on your to-do list, which is on your student center. And those documents are really important because for certain state aids where we can offer you further grants, they do require you to be a priority student, which means that you have to submit your FAFSA on time and your financial aid documents. So document deadline is very important.
The office has made it even easier for students to turn in their documents with their new submission platform online, which launched this month. Liz Lavano, who is a student worker, says the student documents are necessary to receive more grants.
Okay, so the deadline to turn in verification forms is April 26th, and I think it's important that we turn it in right on time, because if not, you won't be able to receive those extra funds that we usually give out to those students, such as a state university grant, and a lot of students depend on that money for their tuition. So, and if you don't turn them in on time, then you are disqualified to receive that grant.
There are a few ways to submit these documents. In person, the Dropbox located outside the office, through the mail, fax, and even online. So submit these documents before this Friday.
From the services and equipment to the software that students and faculty utilize on a daily basis, the Division of Information Technology partners with various vendors and divisions to fully integrate technology into regular campus operations. Our reporter MJ Dunca took us into their annual Tech Day event.
For years since its inception, Cal State Fullerton has been driving digital transformation, providing an immense catalog of free software online and technology on campus. From immersive gaming with ViewSonic to experiencing augmented reality with Dell, Tech Day 2019 had all that to offer and more.
This is opening for faculty, staff, and students and campus community.
It's a great way for students to get more involved, to be able to see all the cool digital literacy, tech tools, and exciting ways that they can increase their career potential and their attractability to future employers.
Deputy Chief Information Officer and Mayor Eric Garcetti Senior Tech Advisor Jean Holm gave the opening keynote speech. Once upstairs, students and faculty alike were able to take part in various workshops with Dropbox, Adobe, and LinkedIn, along with an interactive vendor hall. One of the most popular attractions was the Dell Technologies virtual and augmented reality software experience. I was able to sit down with Jennifer Sigmund, a higher education strategist, to talk about the real-world applications of AR and VR in the classroom and beyond.
So augmented and virtual reality have been around for quite a while. So what we're seeing is that beyond just gaming, which is where everyone associates this type of extended, type reality, we're seeing real applications in teaching and learning around healthcare, engineering, sciences, humanities, and the arts. And what's exciting now is that software is starting to catch up, and there's many more platforms and applications available to allow students and professors to use and create real-world scenarios to foster that type of thinking. So for instance, let's look at healthcare. For right now, it's very expensive to get cadavers and to buy cadavers, right, for students to use. So if you can create a virtual experience for students where they can take apart a virtual cadaver, learn, be tested on it, put it together, it reduces the cost and then also allows students to engage with their content in a much more in-depth way and unlimited types of ways.
Students were also able to take free professional headshots and design and print their own free business cards. As the ever-changing landscape of technology continues to grow, only time will tell what innovations we'll be seeing on campus in the years to come. From Tech Day 2019 inside the Pollock Library, I'm MJ Dunca reporting for OC News.
Coming up, we have the latest on the plane crash in a prison yard.
And also attacks in Sri Lanka. All this and more, stay tuned.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words. Playing world music. What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Earlier today, a plane crashed in the prison yard of a Riverside County facility. The pilot was the only person on board the Northrop N9M when it crashed. It happened into the field located on 1900 block of 4th Street in Norco. There are no reported injuries at this time, but the FAA said that the plane sustained substantial damage. No information on the pilot's condition has been given.
And in world news, 7 explosions at churches and hotels across Sri Lanka killed nearly 300 people on Easter Sunday. Over 550 people have been injured and taken to various hospitals. 3 churches and 3 hotels, including the Shangri-La, Cinnamon Grand, and Kingsbury, were targeted during Easter services. A priest who was presiding over a service at San Sebastian's Church described the carnage following the blast.
It was very, very intensive in the sense that it blasted in such a way. There were children, there were women, and all close by, and all were blown off almost. So we have hundreds and more than 100 people who were killed on the spot.
We have to remain active and vigilant, and it's going to require attention.
And the public housing advocates were outside Notre Dame protesting against economic inequality and homelessness. Some are even frustrated with fundraising efforts to rebuild the cathedral. This all started after donors pledged $1 billion to rebuild the cathedral. 3 of France's wealthiest families donated hundreds of millions of dollars, and some protesters point to the more than $900 million in donations as a clear sign of economic inequality. Also, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported 71 new cases of measles in the U.S. The number of cases this year is now at 626, the second highest in more than a decade. There's a lot of talk about vaccinations for children to protect them from highly contagious viruses and diseases, but what about grown-ups? If you're part of a certain age group, you may need to get your booster shots again. The Centers for Disease Control say the MMR vaccine is very safe and effective. 2 doses are about 97% effective, and preventing measles, and 1 dozen is 93% effective.
Today, the U.S. Supreme Court heard 3 cases that involve discrimination in the workplace. This includes existing bans on sex discrimination and bans on sexual orientation or gender identity. The Supreme Court has granted petitions for the cases that they will take into consideration when making their decision. It is unclear how they will rule in 2020, but in the end, the ruling can potentially help the LGBTQ community in the workplace.
Is your flu lasting longer than usual? This might be the reason.
This year's flu season is a record breaker. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported Friday this flu season is the longest in a decade. The CDC says there have been 21 weeks of elevated fly activity reported in the U.S. That's 1 week longer than the previous 10-year high, which happened during the 2014-2015 season and lasted 20 weeks. Based on rates of illness and hospitalizations, the CDC says this season is considered to be moderately severe. Friday's report showed that flu activity is actually now declining. 11 states reported widespread influenza activity compared to 20 states the week before. New research from the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety found that drowsy drivers are a bigger road risk than previously thought. Accidents are 3 times as great during the nighttime hours where drowsiness was a factor.
Similar to alcohol intoxication, your reflexes and responses and data processing speed would be slower.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say an estimated 1 in 25 adult drivers report having fallen asleep while driving in the previous 30 days. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that drowsy driving is responsible each year for about 83,000 crashes, 37,000 of them with injuries, and nearly 900 deaths. If you're on the road, make sure you recognize the signs of drowsy driving. Yawning or blinking frequently, missing your exit, and drifting from your lane. A Texas swimmer is suing the maker of a multivitamin that she says made her fail a drug test. Madison Cox blames a tainted nutritional supplement for her suspension from the sport. Cox had just set a world record in the 200 individual medley when she tested positive for a banned substance. Cooper Concepts responded to the lawsuit, saying it has since pulled the product and is saddened and disappointed that Cox missed competitions. Cox recently graduated from the University of Texas and is back to training. She's currently working to qualify for the Olympics.
Stay tuned to find out why people are rallying in Los Angeles to defend Britney Spears.
And where is your recycling actually going? All this and more on OC News. What was it?
Can we get strawberries? Okay.
Now let's take a look at how one of the biggest festivals in California tied to Easter Sunday this year.
Last Wednesday, film director John Singleton suffered a stroke. The Boys in the Hood director was initially hospitalized after experiencing weakening legs after returning from a trip to Colorado. Social media has been filled with fans and celebrities posting well wishes for him. Mark Wahlberg took to Twitter saying, "Prayers for my brother John Singleton today." Snoop Dogg posted a photo on Instagram of him alongside Singleton, captioned, "Pray for my brother." Adele splits from husband Simon Konecki after 7-year marriage. Though she normally keeps everything private, she had her representative Benny Tarantini make a statement. He said that as of now, their main focus is on their 6-year-old son, Angelo. He said they will be raising their son together lovingly. As always, they ask for privacy. There will be no further comment. Britney Spears checks herself in to receive mental health treatment. Both Spears fans and family rally around her in support of her seeking help. Countless fans took to Twitter to show their support and sending prayers. This comes after the singer canceled her residency in Las Vegas to focus on her father, who had been experiencing major health issues. She will be at the facility for a period of 30 days. Easter Sunday did not go forgotten at weekend 2 of Coachella. Kanye West Sunday Service rapper Kanye West brought Sunday service to the festival along with the large choir that he had previously done Sunday services with in Calabasas. Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber during Ariana Grande's second performance of the festival. She stunned the crowd when she brought out Justin Bieber to perform alongside her. It was a major moment for Bieber as it was his first public performance in 2 years. While on stage, he informed the audience that his appearance was at a last minute. He said, "I had no idea I was going to be on stage tonight."
And now our reporter Alegria Jimenez shows what happens when the worlds of fitness and puppies collide.
Fitness meets fur babies at the first ever Puppies and Planks Festival. This perfect combination is hosted by Petco and YouTube's #1 female fitness instructor, Cassie Ho of the channel Blogilates. LA's historic park is packed with fitness and puppy lovers alike. All day you can mingle with other humans and puppies, plus take fitness classes ranging from Pilates to Broadway dance workouts and even yoga with your pups. But the best part of all is you don't need a puppy to join in on the fun because this event is all about raising awareness for dog adoption. Cesar Moreno says it's important because oftentimes people overlook adoption.
There's a lot of dogs that need a good home that are great pets, and just people just are not looking at them, you know.
In between classes, you can check out the adoption zone where you can find your next furry family member. You can discover the latest in fitness and dog products in the shopping village or walk on over to the dog carnival for plenty of puppy playtime in the dog agility course or the toy field. There are also tons of great photo op locations to snap some great pictures of your pups. Creator of the Fit Body app, Anna Victoria, says events like this are important because in today's digital world, a lot of face-to-face interaction is lost.
With this day and age of everything being so popular on social media, it's really important to kind of take things offline and in person so that we can actually connect to people in real life.
We're in the midst of all the puppy craziness, but I think it's almost time for our yoga class, so we'll have to see you back in the studio. Come on, Blinn, let's go.
If Coachella isn't for you, we have a cuter alternative.
We've all heard of Coachella, but have you heard of Corgicella? Today is a day dedicated to all corgis. Let's go check it out. Coachella, also known as Corgi Beach Day, is the only event dedicated to corgis at Huntington Beach. The event is held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., 5 hours full of corgi love and activities. Coachella has its scheduled events such as Cutest Cardigan Corgi Contest, Corgi Costume Contest, and a world record-setting most corgis worn in a K9 sports set. The event was founded on October 2012. The first Corgi Beach Day only had 15 corgis in attendance and has exponentially grown to over 1,200 corgis and over 15,000 people. Now, although it is a day dedicated to all corgis, the event does not discriminate. All dogs are welcomed, and as stated on their Facebook page, they are #honorary corgis for the day. The event also has many different types of booths to educate all the people that went about corgis.
Yeah, so we're Queen's Best Stumpy Dog Rescue. We're the first non-profit corgi rescue in California. We specialize specifically in special needs corgis, and so those that have either medical issues or behavioral issues.
If you didn't have time to make it to the event today, don't worry. In October, they're coming back. I'm Daniela Solis for OC News.
Did you ever wonder what happens after you put your things in a recycling bin? Well, most of us think we're doing something good for the environment, but when we put plastic in a recycling bin, tons of mountains of plastic waste are piling up in Malaysia. Shipments of trash from under the U.S. and other wealthy countries are causing a major environmental crisis. A GPS tracker was key in discovering that certain amounts of plastic believed to be destined for recycling were actually shipped all the way from Malaysia. Since 2018, Malaysia has seen a surge of imported plastic scrap. Last year, residents in the rural town of Jenjerome complained about respiratory illnesses due to acrid smoke inhalation. Residents investigated and discovered unlicensed factories processing and burning plastic scrap. Most of it is foreign. Thankfully, machines like the Cyclone take scrap plastics from around the world and help clean them and purify them so that they can be sold for reuse. So from now on, let's all contribute to making our planet a better place to live by reusing and recycling.
Thank you for tuning in to OC News this week. I'm Chloe Abbott.
And I'm Marcos Mora. Have a great night.